If you want a rock-solid framework for a calm and assured life, then this video is for you. We're also going to straighten out a popular psychology myth to explain why your thinking is not the main anxiety problem. Anyway, I'm just on my way to the park to show you something now, but before that, here's a situation that maybe you recognise. It's Wednesday afternoon and you're sweeping through the midweek rush. A call from a friend invites a chance catch-up and a moment to let off some steam. Yet too much fun ushers in a restless night's sleep before morning bursts in with one gear: go. And so now you're running behind schedule and caught up in a catch-up for the day ahead. On your journey, you're now well behind time. You briefly look up, but your attention gets grabbed by the morning hustle, shuffling bodies, alien sounds and smells that jump straight into your face. Scanning the exit hidden by bodies you'll have to barge through if you want to get off. Ruffled, you try to calm yourself down, but the tension is ratcheting, and with little warning, you feel decidedly trapped. Your breath quickens and your heart starts thudding. The whole scene amplifies gradually, then suddenly, you just need to escape. Calm down, it's okay, there's nothing to worry about, you plead inside. But futile attempts to assure yourself is making it worse. Nothing is helping. Are you losing control? Yes, but with no apparent reason, and this has you anxious that something more serious is wrong. Your thoughts accelerate and panic sets in. Don't make a fool out of myself, oh God, no! Luckily, your stop arrives and you clamber to a desperate escape. Or what just happened? Back in the open and relieved yet startled, you seek to shed light on a shocking situation. Does this escalating panic ring a bell? Experiences like this are frequent and often frightening for the sufferer because they expose the limits of our self-control when hampered by high stress. So why is it so hard to regain calm when caught out by panic? And moreover, what would it take to reduce the chances of these situations occurring? Well, let's find out. Hey everyone, I'm Dominic Decker, a registered therapist and your support for a calm and confident future. In this video, I want to take you outside to explore nature's take on a vital framework that can 10 times your emotional well-being. But first, let's set a common myth straight. Well, for a long time, there's been this idea in popular psychology that we can change our feelings by addressing how we think, that modifying our thoughts will influence our emotional experience. But does this work? Think about your own life. Recall a time when the height of emotion gripped you, anger, fear, or passion, perhaps. Does rational thinking even register in such moments? Not really. That's why you likely say or do things you don't mean. Because when a powerful emotional response hijacks the steering wheel, it's almost impossible to tame or reposition your mind. You might have tried a mindfulness technique or reached for a soothing mantra like, "I am not my anxiety," to help increase presence, and maybe it helped. But let's be honest, trying to remain still and focused or repeating logical and well-meaning mantras when you feel cornered offers minimal comfort. It makes things worse. Attempts at self-soothing skim across the surface with disappointing impact or won't sink in. Because your emotions pave the way for your thinking, your thoughts are downstream from emotions, not the other way around. Emotions, these deep and insanely powerful human drivers, arise as your primary responses to life. So when it occurs, panic or high stress cuts your capacity for calm and stable thinking. Here, in the heat of excitement or fear, humans are designed to respond with some form of quick, decisive action, not staying still and waiting it out. Back in the wild, heightening awareness while a lion gears up to rip off your face isn't much evolutionary help. The family line's finished if you're dead. So you can think of your emotions as a hungry baby screaming for food. When distressed, our emotions assume centre stage. Does a baby care that dinner's nearly ready? Or does it heck? It wants and needs food now. So no amount of reasonable delay is relevant. It's helpful to understand this because many people worry that they're going crazy at the peak of high stress. Maybe you too. But fortunately, you probably aren't. We're just using the wrong starting point to calm ourselves down. Now, this idea isn't to say that thinking strategies aren't helpful, but they are much more effective when the nervous system is calm and emotional arousal is low. This is a discrete skill we'll develop in another video. For now, we'll focus on a robust framework to give you a basis for a calm nervous system and stable emotional well-being. Understanding this will also explain what drives excess fear or anxiety from an emotional perspective, Unfortunately, nature offers us an essential starting point for a good understanding. So let's pop outside and find out more. You coming? Come on then. Hey, thanks for coming. Now, the life of this small plant contains vital information to understand your emotional health. From the smallest and simplest to the largest and most complex forms of life, its existence represents a law of all living organisms, and it's this: any organism that comes into the world needs to take nourishment from its environment in order to maintain and rebuild itself. So if this small life or organism gets sufficient water, air, light, and nutrients from the soil, it will develop into a healthy organism. In other words, it won't be sick or distressed. As mentioned, this law of nature covers the spectrum from the simplest forms of life across to more complex beings, namely you and I. And this means that if your human needs for nourishment are adequately met, you will develop and experience life as a stable and healthy individual. This means that all forms of mental distress arise because in one way or another, people's physical or emotional needs are not getting sufficiently met. Now, we all know that we have physical needs for food, water, warmth and shelter, which must be met to enable our survival. But people often don't realise that certain emotional needs are just as crucial for both our mental and our physical health. For emotional well-being, you need a sense of security. This involves a sense of safety, having a stable and predictable environment in which you can live without fear in order to develop healthily. Privacy, you need time and space enough to reflect upon and grow from your experiences. You require connection to a wider community, support and interaction with those around you. Other people help you to normalise life's problems, and this keeps you sane. Intimacy, you need an emotional connection to at least one other person. Friendship, love, a feeling of acceptance and fun. Competence and achievement, you need confidence in your abilities and to feel that you have what it takes to meet life's demands. You need status. This is a belief that you are acknowledged, accepted and valued within the various social groups to which you belong. Then there's attention. You have to receive adequate consideration from others, but also to give it. This form of energy, exchange, assists your personal and social development. You need autonomy, to have a degree of control in life and to know that you can affect the things that happen to and around you. And finally, there's a requirement for meaning and purpose. Well, this entails feeling stretched in pursuit of positive and meaningful goals. This gives you belief that life is worthwhile and that there's a reason to get up each morning. Now, if all of your needs are met in balance, neither too much nor too little, making you confident about your place in the world, you won't suffer from disabling conditions such as anxiety, stress, depression, addictions, phobias and panic attacks. Yet, if one or more of these important requirements remains unmet, the emotional deficit represents stress. This is the gateway to mental ill health in its various forms. Understanding this framework provides a powerful starting point for understanding yourself, your relationships, and the problems and conflicts you face, because you navigate the world through a filter of whether your emotional needs are met, jeopardized, or otherwise incomplete. So if your thinking is anxious or your behavior is stressed, first and foremost, it's an emotional issue. Or to tackle worry and upsetting thoughts, we should begin to address the underlying emotional deficit that trigger your responses. Or to resolve conflict in relationships, you would begin to identify and untangle the clash of underlying emotional needs that fuel strife and disagreement. And to take the first steps towards a calm and assured life, attend to your emotional needs with this clear and structured approach. It's your first and most impactful step. Because when you look rationally at the individual components of your mental well-being as emotional needs, you have a clear analytical framework to understand your emotional health. And critically, you can start to consider ways to reduce stress and regain some clarity and control. To assess where things are with your emotional health right now, start with my emotional needs audit. And covering everything in today's session, it's available via the Anxiety Master website as a free gift. You'll also find the audit in the starter pack I've created to complement these videos, Dom's Anxiety Toolkit. A link in the description. See you soon.